I got this Dewalt 735X recently. It's a great planer. It's the best you can get under $1,000 from everybody I hear. I love it, but recently I've noticed that there's snipe on it, especially in the middle. I work on it and adjust it and made it level on the sides, but you can't get it level in the middle because it's just bowed. So here's an example of that bow. I push in the middle lightly and it flexes. Here's a little closer shot. And then from the bottom as well, you can still see that flex. So here's my method on how I fixed it. You just push with the tool that comes with it on the pin right there, and the feed table comes off. Then you take it apart, as I'm doing now. Make sure you put your screws somewhere safe so they don't lose. I took measurements. It ended up being about 13 7/8, but when I cut it about there, it did not actually work. So I actually wasted 2 boards trying to cut it to length. Here's the first board that I wasted, and this is the final board that I ended up using. I had to cut it and then check over and over. And then I would just take off a little tiny bit with the saw blade, like not even a full blade kerf, taking off and just slowly working up to it. And that's what I suggest doing, because potentially there could be some differences in everybody's feed tables. As you can see, here's another example of that bow. You can see it right in the middle, the bowing downward. Since this is upside down, here's me test fitting. I also chamfered the corners of this board because it wouldn't bump into the edges as it's going into the corners. I'm tapping it with a mallet just to get it in. And then I went ahead and clamped it before I screwed holes in the metal, just to be safe. You probably don't need to do this. It probably won't move if it's pressure fit tightly, which this one is, but I just wanted to be safe, so I went ahead and clamped it. For drilling, I just recommend going small and not going through the wood. That way you do the wood hole at the final with a tiny bit so it doesn't make it too big. I just used screws that I had. I had to end up grinding them flatter because I didn't want there to be any play in the side-to-side action on the feed table. So here's that now. But if you do have actual machine screws, I would definitely recommend those, or if you're better at making it. But yeah, here's what I did. Also, I would recommend vacuuming any dust up from the metal shavings, because I don't want that in my blade. I don't know if it could harm it, but just to be safe. And then as you can see, the bow's pretty much gone. There's a tiny bit left, but that's because the metal's just bent on the corner. And in the end, just put it back on the same way you pulled it off. You can just push with your fingers, and then I forgot to screw it tight here, but as you can see, the bow's gone and there's no play. So hope this helps. Forgot to screw it down and level it, but as you can see, it doesn't really have any play anymore towards the middle and the end. And that's how I fixed my planer. So test it out.